Good morning, I'm Scott McVeigh and welcome to the Adelaide Sports Desk of Nine's Whiteboard of Sports for another big Saturday here in town. And again, the weather has been more than kind to us, perfect spring conditions for what is the penultimate round of football for season 1990. The reserves clash is on at the moment. We'll go down to Footy Park shortly. Racing today is at Cheltenham with 8 events on the card. I'll keep you updated right across the afternoon. At 4:30, following Whiteboard of Sports, I'll bring you finals football action, all of the action from the replay of last year's grand final between North and Port, and what a critical game that is for both sides today. And of course, that will be followed at 5:30 by KG's Footy Show. But for now, the reserves preliminary final being played at Footy Park. West Torrens possibly playing as West Torrens for the last time this year. And Glenelg, let's say good morning to the boys. Graham Campbell, David Mackay and Neville Rocky Roberts.
Thanks, Scotty, and welcome viewers to the preliminary final of the Nissan Cup, our live coverage on Nine's Wide World of Sports. The Tigers have done it well to start the game off. They've got away with 2 goals, 2 points. They're 14, and Torrens have kicked just the 2 singles. Joining me in commentary is Graham Campbell with some goal scorers, David Mackay.
Thank you, Neville. Good morning, viewers. Goal scorers for Glenelg, Wayne Thornborough, who kicked a goal just moments ago, and Phil McGuinness, who snaffled his at the 5-minute mark. And Graham, a magnificent afternoon for football.
Well, David, a few West Torrens supporters have rung up to complain about Scotty McBain's comment. It's West Torrens' last appearance. They may play next week, Scotty.
Well, you saw me go for the mobile phone, Graham. I was one of the complainers. The Eagles, well, nobody would have given the Eagles a chance of coming this far, and who knows how far they can go. We've mentioned before they just snuck into the final 5 in round 20 when they defeated Woodville, but they have since defeated West Adelaide in the elimination final and Norwood in last week's first semi-final to advance to this week's preliminary final. And Glenelg was slaughtered last week by Port Adelaide after looking very comfortable victors early in the game. They kicked 10 goals, Glenelg, in the first quarter to Port Adelaide's 2, but after that it was all the Magpies, and the Port Adelaide reserves have advanced to the grand final.
The Eagles with the ball now, though, as they push forward again, working hard out on the far side of the ground for the Eagles with Somerville. Jep there with him, and the ball will go to ground. There was a report in the first 10 minutes of the game. Neville Smith was reported for the Tigers for allegedly striking Gerard Toohey of West Torrens. So he'll have to face the wrath of the commissioners during the week. With the ball now is Woodall. His kick is long towards the goal square. Bullis underneath it. He kicked 5 for West Torrens last week in their courageous win over Norwood. Spear has 1 point, goes to the boundary line, and we'll have a throw-in in that forward pocket.
And Rocky, speaking of reports, Stuart Whitehouse, who played so well for West Torrens last week, was reported after the game. A report was lodged by Norwood Football Club, in fact, and he was found guilty of striking Mello of Norwood and was suspended. So he's missing today.
It's the trial by video system, Graham, and it's obviously they look at it every Monday, the league, and they file their reports before 12 o'clock.
I was unaware of that, Rocky. How many weeks did he get, you know?
2, I think, Graham, and that would see the year out for him, obviously, if the Eagles are successful today.
Well, how sad's that? Like the boy misses out in the possible grand final appearance.
So it's apparently a fairly serious report, and the young boy from Norwood, in fact, Adrian Mello, number 23, suffered a fractured or broken jaw as a result of the collision. But Damien, in fact, it is. And the boy with the ball there, number 44 for the Tigers, has been playing well this season for them. That's McGuinness. Batterson got it, gave it to Rouvray, back to McGuinness. He's got plenty of run, very similar to his brother. The kick is a beauty, and it finds Elias. Craig Elias, number 7 for the Tigers.
Well, a real one-man show of skills there by Phil McGuinness. He gave what I would call a lateral hand pass to start the thing going, took it back and found Elias with a brilliant kick.
A little bit loose by West Torrens as Simon Hill forces his way over the 50-metre line. It'll still be a good kick, although what breeze there is here at Football Park on an absolutely magnificent day and surface is favouring the Tigers. That's going to the left of your screen or the northern end of the ground. Let's watch him as he rides it in. It's a beautiful kick. Has it got the distance? It has.
So Glenelg go to an 18-point advantage, and to be frank, there's very little breeze at Football Park of which to speak. McIntosh it was who got the ball to Liptak, who goes to half forward. The target was Maynard, ruck roving today. Wormald in pursuit. The ball just kept on the line. And Scott Geyer, named the best for the Eagles by the club last week. Of course, we gave Damien Mead the brawn man of the match. Liptak again, long, well placed. Elias at full forward, right on the edge of the square, and the big man is marked. Now remember that Craig Elias started so very well last week against Port Adelaide. In fact, he kicked 3 goals in the first term. And as Neville Roberts off air reminds me, that's all he kicked, so he wasn't sided virtually after the first quarter. Into the open goal, and that's his first.
Welcome back to Football Park. There's the scoreline, 4-2-26. The Tigers away to a great start of West Torrens, 2 points. That's a 24-point margin. Slight breeze, as I said, and it's going with the Tigers. Off the ground came Jason Ziller moments ago, and Matt Hill replaced him, number 59 for West Torrens, so an early change to them. With the ball now is John Harper. He's at centre wing, but he might have got the benefit of a free kick or a 50-metre there. Umpire today, Jeff Jeans and Richard Williams. The ball goes to the 50-metre line. Bergeron underneath it. He's given Neville Smith a hiding early in the game. There he is on your screen. Neville Smith goes to ground against Somerville and will have a bounce just over the 50-metre line. And as usual, today we'll make some judgments towards the end of the game about the best person on the ground. The man of the match, he'll receive the Brawn Shaver. It comes compliments of Brawn. They've given one away every week on our Nines coverage of the Nissan Cup. We appreciate it, and the players do as well.
And they do, and 2 last week with the first semi and the second semi-final. Free kick at half forward at Somerville for the Eagles, right on the 50-metre line. Now, he won't make the distance. The former Brisbane Bears and Footscray player was looking to feed off. Hill was a target. Now Hannum, off goes Toohey. That's where the ball heads too high for that player, no doubt about it. Now, there were 5 Glenelg players that read that play. They were all there to chop off the short pass, and in the finish it was Batterston who marked. His kick goes to the outer side. Well taken, Angove. He streams away. Gee, there's nobody in pursuit of him. Finally, the handball forward, Simons, who's down, I suggest, to have a run for some fitness after last week's game against Port Adelaide. He'll be preparing himself for next week's grand final. Maynard, last opportunity for him to get back in the senior side as well. Elias out to Liptak's great work. Into the open goal goes Liptak, and Liptak has goal.
Welcome back to Footy Park, 5-2-32. The Tigers doing it pretty well with the small breeze. They lead by 30 points over the Eagles. Through Woodall, couldn't control it. Quickly out of the centre of the ground, the Tigers are forward. At half forward, Maynard couldn't take it. Smothered off the boot. Liptak kicked their last. Beautifully taken, but Scott Guy in the way. Number 30, he's a rough and tough machine. He doesn't mind getting over the ball and doing all the hard work. Handballing it out from under the pack there was Jeff Graham. Now it's Tony Simons. He puts it up in the square. Elias underneath it. It'll be a one-out contest. A result? Well, there is. It's 1 point. It's Craig Elias on your screens. He gets up to his feet. Started his career in the back lines. So West Torrens go along to Glenelg to 5-3-33. Torrens remain on 2 points.
From defence, the Eagles through Wormald go to the outer side. Oh, Pyman, great mark. I'm very impressed with this youngster, formerly from Wyala. Great leap, great skills, good pace. He'll be an eye-catcher in the new West Torrens Woodville Football Club, to be known as the Eagles. Spear on the boundary line. Paddles it out. Chapman, handballs inboard. Woodall now needs to create something, does so. Chapman now has Toohey. Toohey has space and centres the ball towards half forward. Meads there, Bergeron also. Bergeron, 1 grab, 2 grab. The big man's got it.
Playing very well, David. Big Bergeron. He's really giving people upfield something to kick at.
When he's good, he's very, very good. When he's bad, by geez, horrid. But he's certainly having an on day today. McTavish, off it goes. Simons covering plenty of ground. Just evades the tackle. Lifts the eyes. Short. Well played to Bromelo. Bromelo played particularly well last week. That handball wasn't a good one. Woodall cut it off and forced the ball out of play. We're almost into time on, first term of the cutthroat preliminary final.
And Glenelg have a handy lead of 31 points, 25 minutes in. Gee, it's a really nothing game at the moment, Rocky, as far as contest from West Torrens is concerned.
This has been disappointing early in the piece. West Torrens have done well to get from 5th spot. Plenty of experience in this side. And they'll need all of that now to work their way back into the game. John Harper over at Somerville, working hard, trying to give the Eagles an opportunity. Plenty of run in those legs. He's caught by McGuinness. That's a beautiful run down by that player. He bounced it. It was McGuinness that caught him. Let's have a look at that. Number 44. Now, he actually bounced it, not really knowing that McGuinness had a hand on him. And it was a bit unfortunate for West Torrens. Over half back for the Eagles. They work it out now. Neiman to Dawkins was good. Through Scott Geyer. Has a look, lifts the eyes. Bergeron's the target. Let's see if he can take this one. That's a beautiful catch, and he's on top at half forward.
I know the game's only, 25 minutes old now. Well, clearly best on ground, this man with the ball at the moment.
He's giving them plenty, running to space, using the ball well when he has it. Well, he goes on quickly. The player with the ball was Robert Pyman. He slipped over on the half-forward flank. The Tigers win it back. Neville Smith chips it around the body. He's looking for Maynard under a lot of pressure from Somerville. He's pushed in the back. Play on to advantage is good umpiring. Tony Simons, he'll use it. He's got Jep through the centre of the ground. It's the way it goes. Jep with a paddock in front of him. He's run down by Guy, not before he gets it in. Let's look at the contents. It's a beautiful take by Wormald on the last line of defence, and he impressed me at league level during the year, David.
Yes, he's only played probably 8 or 9 senior games, Rocky, but one of the real promising juniors at West Torrens. Of course, eligible to play in the reserves. Now Graham drives towards centre half forward. He didn't lift the eyes, or perhaps if he did, the kick was just short to Bullis. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Thornborough, one of the new developing juniors at the Bay. Out wide, Bromelo bends it back. Jep, one hand, couldn't complete the mark. Batterston, handball's back. Maynard, heel. Got it from Day, in fact, it was, that gave off that handball, the young 17-year-old kid. Now, Elias claimed the mark and wasn't happy with Richard Williams for giving him a free kick against him for pushing the back. Dawkins then kicked into the man on the mark. Robson, the veteran, out wide. The ball is stolen by Rouvray. He's at class, this kid. Off it goes, Hocking, another good junior. Liptak, the medical student, into the open goal. That's his second. It's all so easy.
The Tigers by 37 points in the Nissan Cup prelim final. Of course, the winner goes straight through to the grand final to take on the Magpies next week here at Football Park. Rouvray, left foot, long into the forward line, and brings up the boundary line. Craig Elias in your screen there for the Tigers. You're live at Football Park on Nine's Wide World of Sports. And what a magnificent day. Sunshine, spring weather. It's certainly finals time, David.
Sure is, Rocky. And remember, of course, only 2 games left for the season. There's not much left for footy-hungry fans. Liptak, handballed forward. Simon Hill was jumped upon. Now Matt Hill deep in defence. He's taken the ground. The ball comes out from Hill, but it's already out of play. Let's not forget today at 4:30, finals football action. Port and North, the preliminary final, and it's mothballs for one of those teams. They'll have the opportunity of facing Glenelg in the grand final. And certainly one of Michael Noonan's biggest challenges this year is to get his young Roosters into the grand final. At quarter time, as the siren sounds, it's Glenelg by 37 points.
All Glenelg that first quarter. The minor premiers certainly dictated the terms of play, had everything going for them. West Torrens made some ridiculously stupid errors in trying to quell the avalanche of Tiger footballers coming down the field, but it was to no avail. At this point in time, it's a different class of team playing West Torrens than what they've been playing in the previous 2 matches.
Indeed it is. And at quarter time in the Nissan Cup Reserves preliminary final, Glenelg 6-3-39. They lead Torrens 2 points. That's a 37-point advantage to the Tigers. Stay with us. We'll be back with more footy after the break.
Welcome back. Well, last Monday night at the Convention Centre, the 1990 West End All-Stars Player of the Year was announced. Neil Curley and his panel of selectors chose the most outstanding player from the minor round, and that player was, of course, North Adelaide's Daryl Hart, who had a fabulous season. Daryl picked up a brand new Nissan Skyline Silhouette, valued at nearly $27,000, a magnificent prize. But of course, there is another one that will be given away tomorrow, and that went to the first correct entry drawn in the West End All-Stars Player of the Year public competition. Tomorrow on the Sunday Footy Show, we will present the 1990 West End All-Stars Player of the Year, Daryl Hart, to present the winner of the public competition with a new Nissan. And it's all thanks to West End. And that wasn't half as confusing as it sounds, but make sure you watch the Sunday Footy Show tomorrow for all of that and a whole lot more. All right, back to Footy Park. But just before we go, boys, I want to clear something up. I said in my opening remarks that this could possibly be West Torrens' last game as West Torrens. Now, don't get the West Torrens fans offside with me. I said possibly. I didn't say it definitely would be, right? So I've covered myself. Let's go back to the Footy Park for a wrap-up of the first quarter.
Nicely cleared up, Scotty. You're off the hook there. There's the scoreline. The Tigers 6-3-39. 37-point advantage over the Eagles. They're just the 2 points. Remember, the Eagles went against a slight breeze in that first quarter. They kicked with it this quarter. The goal scorers for the Tigers. Hill, number 29, has 2, and there's a bevy of 1-goalers. McGuinness, Thornborough, Elias and Liptak.
and the Eagles, of course, yet to get off and score it all. Well, next Saturday morning at the Adelaide International Hilton, the South Adelaide Football Club will have their traditional grand final breakfast. It's always very entertaining. Ken Cunningham, our own Channel 9 commentator, will be there hosting it. Mal Brown will be there. Neil Curley will be there. It promises to be a fantastic breakfast, so don't miss it. You can ring Maxine at the South Adelaide Football Club to get your tickets, and it's something really worthwhile. Well, we're about to start the second quarter here at Football Park for the preliminary final of the Nissan Cup. Your commentators are David Mackay and Graham Campbell.
Thanks, Rocky. Graham Campbell's got a quick word to say before we get into the match.
Yes, Scott McBain maintains he said could be, but he didn't say it could be Glenelg's last appearance either. I mean, he's got to be fair to both sides.
OK. Thanks, Graham, for that. Ball goes off the ground through half forward. Bromelo over the top of it. He played well last week, having a dose of the fumbles today. Donovan, wide. McIntosh, the target. He was Glenelg's best player last week. Young Jason McIntosh. And there's not much of him, a wiry half-back wingman type. As the ball comes back into play, it will be Neiman doing the ruck duties for the Eagles over McCulley. It was Neiman with the tap, but he infringed into the back of Stuart McCulley. And the Glenelg big man will take the free kick on the outer wing. Plenty of leads. Hocking goes off. That's where the ball heads. Oh, there's a big pack there. It flew. Nobody could complete the grab. Finally, it was Liptak who fed off the handball. Elias now out from full forward. Drives high, sitting underneath it. Oh, Simon Heel it was. The ball was spoiled from him. And now the opportunity for Graham to come out and clear for the Eagles. Did that pretty well. Mead, half-back, short. Target was Woodall. And far too short for that player. And again, it's out of play.
So the score, minutes into the second quarter, 37-point advantage. Glenelg 6-3-39. West Torrens just the 2 points. And further to that South Adelaide breakfast, because Mal Brown will be in town for our grand final and a guest of Channel 9. So don't miss our coverage of the grand final next Sunday. Football Park, it will be a beauty.
Most people say big bad Mal Brown. Never noticed that? He never just gets Mal Brown.
Well, he is big, and he's certainly been bad. I don't know whether he is still bad. We say that in a jocular fashion as Batterston goes towards goal. That is a beautiful goal. There's nothing bad about that.
Oh, yes, top goal, a top Rovers goal. That's the way that little fellows have got to line up the goals once receiving possession of the ball. There's never any doubt in Batterston's mind that his shot for goal would split the centre. Loop falling on the ball as it hits the ground level, and sized up beautifully did Batterston. That's experience, knows what it's all about. Sadly, ain't played 2 league games for the Bays this year, but it's been a very prolific kick winner at this level throughout the season.
When you look at the Rovers ahead of him, Paul Hallahan has done particularly well, came from nowhere. Nick Chigwidden has also done it well. McDermott, Roves, he's got a few very good players to get over the top of. Byman, out it goes to Matty Wormall. A kick through half forward. Matt Hill, they need his pace up forward. He hasn't shown much of it, neither's Tui. So far, tried to crash through. McTavish couldn't do so. Oh, there's a free kick picked up behind play. It was McTavish who was held after he disposed of the handball. It's umpire Jeff Jeans adjudicating there. Donovan, half-back, plays directly down. Oh, Simons was very clumsily dealt with by Hannum.
Call that being unceremoniously dumped.
OK. Simons through half forward. Elias and Thornborough the target. Elias now recovers. Handballs forward. Well done. Batterston, Liptak out wide. He has 2 on the left boot. Is it goal number 3? It is.
Short.
Welcome back to Football Park. 8-3-51. The Tigers are on fire as they continue their assault over the Eagles in the second quarter of the prelim final. Live at Football Park, magnificent day. Bromelo over the top of the ball, taps it out left-handed, goes to Maynard. Plenty of experience in those 2 names. Maynard's kick is high, underneath it, Rouvray couldn't take it. Coming away with it was Graham. He got it over to Wormald, but it's intercepted by Bromelo. He pushes it back in high from behind. Trying to take a big one was Rouvray. Beautiful handball up to that player. I'll pick up who it was that gave it to him. I think it was Liptak. It's a magnificent shot at goal. He's first.
Well, remarkably, Matthew Liptak again had a hand in a Bay goal. The quick hand pass across to Paul Rouvray, lurking ominously around about half forward, and he turned it around magnificently. It was a top goal, that. It wasn't easy. He had to sort of be at right angles to a certain degree when he started his forage on that particular end of the goal-scoring end for the Bays. and in the finish, an easy goal to Rouvray. In fact, most of the Bay goals today have been ridiculously easy. Very little pressure brought to bear by the opposition.
Might I add, Graham, it was made to look easy by the skills of that young man. We saw him last week against Port Adelaide with 2 left-foot goals of a similar nature that were just oozing of class. And that one, the 3rd goal I've seen him kick in 2 weeks, just really shows what a class player he is. Maynard, last opportunity to get back into the Glenelg grand final team. Remember, of course, the Bays need to find one. Oh, good mark, Thornborough. Up from the under-19s. And the youngster has leapt over the top of Lee Robson and taken a screamer.
What a great mark it was. He certainly just leapt, as David said, and hung there suspended for that brief moment it takes and captured the ball in great style.
Only 18 years of age, a Teal Cup player in 89, right on the 50-metre line. The kick was a wobbly one. Oh, Robson was up well before acceptances. He's interfered, appears to be Rouvray. And Rouvray, Rocky, will have the opportunity of shooting from 5 metres out.
I'll just explain that, David. If Robson had maintained his hold on the ball and taken the mark, it would have been paid. But the infringement paid to Rouvray was just too much for the umpire to allow.
David, West Torrens really playing like they're stunned or overcome by this final at the moment. They're making too many mistakes.
Spot on, Rocky. Rouvray, 2 goals in 2 minutes. That's right through the middle.
Well, I've got to say a gift goal to Glenelg. As I said before, if Robson had have maintained possession of the ball and come down with it, the umpire would have allowed it, because you can infringe if you are legitimately going for the mark. But of course, he's nowhere near the ball, and he just laid into Rouvray, and Rouvray got the resultant free kick and the easy goal, which is his 2nd. And as David just said, 2 in 15 seconds virtually.
Yeah, Graham, I'll also add, last week after he kicked those 2 great goals, he got a very nasty punch to the kidneys that really put him out of action in the second half of the match. But he really does look to be okay today.
Oh, no question. He's all class, the boy, too. Going to be a player of the future.
4 goals in 6 minutes. That's a goal every 1.5 minutes, and the Eagles just have to do something. Pyman out of the centre of the ground. High, Spear couldn't take it. McIntosh there. Matt Hill tried to have a shot at goal. Too slow, not quick enough in the close hand department at the moment, the Eagles, as McIntosh shoots one out. That's quick enough. Gives it to McGuinness. Short to Maynard. Is very good football. The Bays, plenty of confidence now, doing it from a position of power as Maynard boots it along the grandstand wing. Oh, they go up high. Good jump from the back of the pack by Wormold. The crummer is Pyman. He shoots it back in. In fact, that was Hannum. Spear underneath it. He's held. No free kick. Bromelo mops up. Has a look up. Looks it back. He's looking for Rouvray. He doesn't fly in the end. The crummer is Jeb. It's beautifully taken. Shoots it up towards half forward. Rouvray with Robson towards the boundary Harper, and that's finally where it ends up. And Rouvray's given away a free kick. John Harper will take it for holding on just before the ball went out. John Harper's kick comes back to centre wing. Woodall will jump for the Eagles, but from behind the pack. I think he was paid. I thought the man in front obviously took it. I thought McCulley might have been paid. Woodall, talented player, chips short. Good kick. Find Wormold. He's at centre wing. Puts it in long towards half forward. They set themselves. Plenty of players up. Oh, the catch behind, not paid. I thought that might have gone to Angove. Out of trouble. Beautifully done by Spear. The kick is a shocker. Luck's a fortune. Straight to Somerville, his first goal.
Somerville, who started on a wing. The Eagles are obviously looking for a little bit more height across centre. They've been troubled by Tony Simons in particular, and Hannum's been brought out of a forward pocket onto the wing. Bullis flew for the ball, couldn't complete it. Donovan through solidly. Now McTavish. Jeff in turn has the runner in Batterston. Support comes from McIntosh, who's decked. Now on the grandstand wing, it's Rouvray and Robson. Rouvray just pushes Robson into the fence. Needs to be careful, Paul Rouvray. Lee Robson won't tolerate that nonsense for too long. Experienced campaigner from Whyalla. They beat him pretty tough up there. Beat him nails for breakfast. McCulley to ground. Simon Hill roving well. Goes to half forward. Robson spoils on Rouvray. Now it's Geyer. Back to Robson. Is good work. Oh, geez. Just looks like he's running in slow motion, Lee Robson, today. In fact, he is. Goodness me. He really had to work overtime to clear that ball. Geyer forward. Mead. Played so well last week, but where's he been today? Oh, cleverly done. Somerville has pace, goes for a bounce, looks to handball off, he's forced to kick, and Donovan did it so well. push Somerville wide and force the ball out of play on the full.
A great example of harassment in football. You don't need to get the ball, but you're doing something of value to your team. And Donovan did just that.
Indeed he did. He forced the mistake. Patterson, beautifully Crum, throws the ball out towards Simons. He's well tackled at centre wing on that occasion by number 26 for the Eagles, and that is Paul Chapman. The umpires today are Jeff Jeans and Richard Williams, and that's Richard Williams in your screen. Big knock by McCulley, taken by Chapman. He goes into Wormold. Good handball to find Somerville, picking up some important touches now, cleverly around McGuinness. He's run 15 metres. He's taking it right in. He'll kick off a 50. He's got a player coming at him now. Puts it in high. It'll go wide and almost towards Neiman. Chance for Bullers. He's run down. Nearly a free kick. McTavish, though, has a look. Decides he'll go to the left of the stadium or eastern side. Finds Donovan. Bromelo right up. Back to Neville Smith. Used the ball brilliantly, the Tigers, and they're out of trouble with McIntosh as he heads forward.
By gee, they did that well in the finish, the Bays. The vision is good, and they had runners all over the ground, confident that their teammates would push the ball forward. Jep, Simon Hill, McGuinness. This is dangerous. McGuinness, off he goes. Heads towards the goals. He'll lob it right in the square. Thornborough the target. Thornborough has the mark. By gee, he's an exciting youngster.
The only danger there was that Craig Elias tried to take it off him. Thornborough had his name written on that for the moment. Phil McGuinness speared it towards the attacking area, but Craig Elias just bought into it at the last moment and spelt danger, but not to be. Thornborough held the mark.
The big man, Thornborough, has one. Kicked in the first term. Now 15 metres out. The angle will be tight, but it shouldn't bother him. Oh, but it has. He's offline and through for a point. Now, Glenelg go to 10 goals, 464. The Eagles are 1 goal, 2-8. But remember, Rocky, of course, that last week, Glenelg had 10 goals on the board to Port Adelaide's 2, and they still lost the game.
Yes, that was quite incredible comeback by the Magpies in their typical traditional fashion. Liptak caught one high as well as he got the ball out to Maynard. That'll be paid to an advantage. And in fact, it's interesting, Graham. I don't know if there's any advantage going there. I'd rather have taken the ball where Liptak was if I was Wayne Stringer.
I agree because, well, if it is FAD, the umpire must pay it, I guess. But if he had have paid it, if you might call it advantage, because the player was decked as he handballed and the umpire thought the ball was closer to the attacking area, it could be unwise because the angle is greater.
Peter Maynard will kick from about 50. That would be one of his worst kicks. He's usually not too bad in front of goals, Peter Maynard. I think he prefers to kick him on the run, though, Graham.
Now, I go further than that, Rock. He's probably the best standing shot and on the run kicker of goals at Glenelg, honestly.
David Marshall.
Well, he's great on the run, not so much on the straight shot.
OK. Comment Graham Campbell. McCulley, high over the top. The ball goes to ground. Gee, Gerard too is running on the spot. Somerville, he's covering plenty of ground. Wide, Chapman has space. Now, Matt Hill could have drifted back into the hole, but he came forward and put himself out of position. Donovan, who has certainly recovered from that knee reconstruction, looks to be playing pretty well. McTavish back now to Bromelo, wide. And this is McIntosh. So they're everywhere, the Bays. Oh, the kick not well placed. Robson sits in underneath it and right in the hole has taken an easy chest mark. The kick to centre field. Well, he's picked out McCulley. Good work. The only big man on the ground, and he found him. Now, well, you could add in Thornborough, but McCulley really is the big man. Berggren over the top of the ball. Liptak it was who got the ball out to Maynard, who was looking for Hill, but fine McIntosh. He centres the ball. Now it's big Thornborough, and no doubt he'll kick his second from 12 metres out.
Torrens are in an absolute state of panic at the moment, David. They've got 3 or 4 players running at the player with the ball. They've only got one player on the ground that's got any zip or dash at the footy, and that's Somerville. He's the only one making something happen. The rest of the players are standing around waiting for Glenelg to do it and then react.
Spot on, Rocky. Thornborough into the open goal. He's bottled the Bays' 11th goal.
The Tigers 11-4-70. A slaughter on our hands as Torrens 1-2-8 struggle by 62 points. 15 minutes into the second quarter of our preliminary final. On Nine's Wide World of Sports, we're live from Football Park on a magnificent spring day in Adelaide. Plenty of sun. Beautiful day to come down to the footy. Don't hesitate if you're thinking about coming down for today's prelim final between the Magpies and the Roosters. Due to commence here at 2 o'clock. Should be a beauty. And there's the crowd building and some SANFL sun hats. And they're getting excited. They stand up to have a bit of a look at the tussle on the ground, and players jump in from everywhere.
And might I suggest that's the last thing Peter Maynard wants, a confrontation prior to a grand final being played next week, which he hopes to be part of. He'd be well advised to. I know he had to react because 3 people jumped on him, but the last thing he wants is any chance at all of missing next week's grand final with the Bays.
Yes, you keep your hands well and true to yourself in games leading up to grand finals. It's just there's nothing worse. In fact, I talked to Kim Hodgman during the week. He'd actually missed a grand final during his career, and he said it is just simply the worst, the most pathetic feeling he's ever had in football is having to watch his team play a grand final.
It will be hollow, just a hollow emptiness. Regardless of whether their side won or lost, you wouldn't feel part of it.
Well, you wouldn't. If they win, you feel terribly disappointed. If they lost, I guess you feel as if you've let them down by not being part of it.
Yeah, fair comment, Rocky. Ball goes to ground. Somerville, he is one of the Eagles who is working at his highest level. Pyman couldn't take control. Batterston cleverly forward to Liptak. He already has 2. Hoffner now onto the ground, collects Liptak. But who is it again? It's Somerville. There is no runners. There's nobody making space. Robson is sitting back at centre half back. Could have made the space. Didn't. Now Geyer forced to concede ground. They are really shell-shocked, the Eagles. Their team plan is in disarray. Pyman, long, Bergeron, little nudge. Good mark. Play on. Tui, do they need him to fire? Has time for a bounce. Changes the direction of play, and it's Mead at centre half forward who has the ball. Neiman's out on a lead. Matt Hill drifts into the hole, and they've got him. Well, that was the first semblance, Rocky, of team play from the Eagles.
Well, it was, and as they run forward into space, their players are prepared to work, but they're not prepared to work in defence to provide a space or to provide a player for the Somerville who is running out of defence and put him in all sorts of trouble. They're very lucky to be having a shot for goal.
Hill, who kicked 4 goals last week, way off target with that one, just scraped home for a point. Younger brother, of course, of former West Torrens great Kevin Hill. Let's have a look at his goal-scoring ability the last few weeks. He's kicked 1-2, zip, 1-1, zip, and 4. So he knows where the goals are, and his game last week with 4 was a beauty.
Zip is slang for nil, nothing, 0.
Zilch.
Zilch. Thanks, Graham. McGuinness close to it. Over the ball is Harper. In fact, that's McIntosh out there for the Tigers. Matt Hill has an opportunity now. Stands, waits for a player to give it to. Bergeron's the only player that wanted it. He's smothered off the boot. Matt Hill again, he's outnumbered. Jepp is there for the Tigers. Brumelo puts his hands on it and picks it up. Dashes away with it, a long left-handed handball. He finds Liptak. Using the ball well, McCallie took his eyes off it, and he copped up one very high from Hannum. Finally, it's Woodall who goes back to find Mead. The Eagles are back into attack. Underneath it, almost a chance, is Neiman, number 35, Smith with him. But they're outnumbered again. That's Ango. Another high tackle. It's Graham in the background. Gives this famous cliche. Use your head, watch your hurry.
Well, that's a classic coat hanger, that one. And I was looking for the head laying on the ground, actually. It really nearly decapitated him. But that's football. That happens from time to time. Just digressing, Rocky, on zip. In America, the postcode is called a zip code. One of them means a nothing code.
Isn't that a very relevant piece of information, and a beautiful take by Hocking. Half forward for the Tigers. He'll want to move it in quickly. He's got Rouvray, Thornborough and Elias. Plenty of height up there. Liptak is the player. It's a bad kick. Geyer there as well. Elias throws one out to Batterson. Left foot towards goal. He has one. He's got his second on Nine's Wide World of Sports. His second point. We're excited about that. It was a beautiful piece of play, starting with that great take of Hockings at half forward. And he had players in Thornborough, Elias in long, but the kick-in was poor, and Batterson made a shot at goal, but just a little offline. 71 plays 9.
Rocky, I must tell you that's his first point. I think you're trying to cover. I think we all thought it was a goal up here, and it wasn't a very good cover.
Tell you what, I'll get Rocky the hook. It deserved a goal.
Deserved a goal. Concede the point. So 1-1 to Adrian Batterston, who hasn't played too badly either. Bergeron now having a run on the ball. Kicks wide. Jepp. Handballs inboard. Maynard, who looks to be in grand final form. I think this performance today might just play him into a Tiger grand final side. Pyman it was to Guy. Now watch Guy go. He has no targets. Harper is running backwards. Nobody's creating the space. Neville Roberts has already mentioned that. Now Hill does. He's ignored. Goodness me. There is nothing up forward. The kick is high, and that's the result. Angove in defence marks.
Well, you made that mention, and David Neiman was standing back on the left-hand side of the player going into. He wouldn't even run to his leg, and and the Tiger backman found it very easy just to read where he had to kick the ball because he was under pressure. So there's a bit of panic, too many nerves at the moment for the Eagles, and the Tigers taking a lot of advantage. Another strong mark by Hocking. Let's have a look at it. Ooh, through strongly Dawkins. And Hocking now from centre wing, puts it back to half forward. Elias is up high. The crummer is Batterson. Quick hands, he goes backwards to Day. Pyman there. He's also starting to feature for the Eagles. Harper is the player he punched it out to. And he'll run on to that eastern wing. He's got no one ahead of him. He has to prop, and that's the reason he propped, and goes backwards 10 metres. Geritui is standing in the middle of the ground like he's got concussion. And the player is, I can't believe that a West Torrens players can't work out. You've got to run to the leg. They are in total panic, David. They've absolutely frozen.
My comment is this, Neville. There doesn't appear to me to be an on-field leader. Nobody is just settling these young West Torrens guys down. They've been shellacked at this stage. Des Kemp's gone for the phone, and well, he might. Very difficult. When you get into a situation like this, you need 2 or 3 senior players just to steady, and they haven't had people doing that. Somerville goes to ground.
David, it's not as if they're not without people that could lead them on the ground. I mean, Somerville's trying his hardest. I mean, Woodall's not a young player. They've got Berger, who's had plenty of experience. They've got Tui, who's had plenty of experience. As they go towards goal, Batterson kicks his second.
And there's that goal Adrian Batterson should have got, Rocky, 2 minutes ago. Really, we all thought that was going to be a goal, a great passage of play, but on this occasion, Liptak made it easy for the boy. Whacked it over the top in a fashion. I don't think he really meant it to hit the ground. He's trying to get it on the full to Adrian Batterson. It didn't eventuate. Nonetheless, the goal did. That's all that matters. That's what they pay on. And Glenelg storm away to a 68-point lead.
The point we were trying to make is that the Bays enjoy people like Tony McTavish, Craig Elias, Adrian Batterson, perhaps more importantly, Peter Maynard and Tony Simons, who are very senior experienced players. Jason Bromelo is a cool head in defence. So they've got plenty of those types of players. Robson, it was, who got the ball out to Matt Hill. The kick was high, wide and not so handsome, and you can see the dejection as the ball's out of bounds on the full.
Well, Matt Hill's last 2 shots for goal, one has faded away dramatically from 35 metres out on that occasion. He's under pressure, of course, out of bounds on the full. That's just no result at all from 2 shots for goal, which is about epitomises West Torrens' plight today, David.
Des Kemp has made a number of changes, Graham. Lee Robson has gone to centre half forward. It appears that Jason Spear, who was playing fairly ordinarily across half forward, has gone to centre half back. In fact, Spear spent some time on the interchange bench. Mark Hoffner goes into a back pocket. Bergeron is now rucking. So they've made some wholesale changes. Hannum, who started in a forward pocket, has gone to a wing. Liptak. Oh, that's beautifully done, Tony Simons. Liptak cleverly off to McGuinness. This kid is a star. I like him too. To the open goal face he heads. Touched on the line. It was Hoffner drifting back who read the ball and just thwarted another Glenelg goal.
Yes, I think Phil McGuinness was still advised to shoot for goal from that position. He could have handballed to a player in a slightly better position further on. The goal would have been simple, but who can criticise Glenelg? They've kicked 12 goals, 6-1, 3. They're doing something right.
Well, you now have to size up Glenelg, Graham, and have a look at them. I think they won 18 and lost 2 during the year. Then, of course, they lost the second semi-final to Port Adelaide. So they've only lost 3 games for the year, and they're looking very much in grand final form.
They sure are, and they won't be an inconvenience, David, because Port Adelaide will be their opponent, possibly in both games.
Spot on. That's assuming, of course, as I presume you are, that Port Adelaide will beat North Adelaide today. And
I said possibly.
Yep. Take your point, Hocking. 15-20 metres out, directly in front. Well, that's the 3rd very good mark this term this youngster's taken.
He took the mark of the day some 15 minutes ago, but what I'm saying is not being inconvenienced. With Glenelg and Port, if they play off in the senior grand final, we'll both have to field 2 teams on the one day, and it'll be a sterling struggle in both games from where I sit. That is, once again, I repeat, if Port get over North in the later game today.
Be a big crowd here next week if that's the case. So Port Adelaide and Glenelg would play each other in the reserves and the senior final, an indication as to the strengths of both clubs. But North Adelaide can, of course, change that. Hocking into the open goal from a standing start. He's kicked his first, and only 17 years of age. He stands pretty tall and he takes a very good mark. And Graham, this one shows what ability he has in the air.
Oh, the boy can take a mark, and he's a player of the future also. In fact, Glenelg are bursting at the seams with players of the future. Liptak, Hocking, The boy Thornborough we mentioned before. He's got height and he's rangy. Simon Hill on the way. Phil McGuinness, perhaps. He's been out of favour with the selectors at reserves level the last couple of weeks, but he's still there as a player of the future. This is a real talent-packed team, and they're really showing it on the scoreboard. That's their 7th goal for the quarter, if you don't mind.
If you don't mind, and just coming back to McGuinness, yes, he was omitted last week, and I couldn't believe it with the pace and hands that he's got, but what the Glenelg people just told me it was a numbers game, and he was forced out, but he'd been my side every day.
Somerville, the best player for the Eagles, no doubt about that, puts one in high. But in front with the Tigers, coming from behind was Neiman. The ball is out of bounds. There is a free kick in the back of Angove. And don't forget, this afternoon we'll pick, by the end of the match, the man of the match. And he will receive, as usual, the brawn shaver, the value of over $100. Simon Hill wide as Gerard Tui comes off. Jason Ziller back on for the Eagles. Liptak gets the kick down ground. He's just the offensive side of centre. Goes backwards. McGuinness gets it over in turn. Liptak. He'd be very high in the born player of the match as well. Puts it in high. Elias Robson high. He's caught and held. Either Robson or it might be Chapman, in fact. In fact, it's Spear, number 59, and he'll take the free kick. Short. Mead. Giving possession of it. They seem to have settled a little bit, the Eagles. Mead trying to do it just a little bit too much, but he manages to get away with it. Goes wide. He's got a lead out there from Woodall, and he finds that player. 7 minutes gone. We're well into time on. The Eagles push forward again. Over 50 metres. Wormwood's got it. He didn't see Jep closing on him, but luck's a fortune as he goes straight in. And Damon Neiman takes a good man.
Yeah, no question, Neville. He found him by mistake. The boy was going to shoot for goal. He was tackled off the ball virtually, bringing about a missed kick, if you like, and standing unopposed. For one of the rare times the Torrens forward was standing unopposed. And now has a chance to kick his goal. And it is just that.
Well, the last time these two sides met was round 19 of this year, just before the finals. The Tigers walloped West Torrens by 81 points in that game, and it looks like they might be repeating that dose today. Jep short. The target was Rouvray. Couldn't quite control the ball. The finish, it was Graham who thumped the ball out to Dawkins, who went short and found Hannam. Now, Hannam has quelled Tony Simon since going on to him. Simon's hasn't had the brilliance that he certainly did in the first term. Mead, one-handed attempt over the top of McIntosh. Couldn't complete it. It's Bromelo. Donovan, straight to the boundary line. Defensive work. Knew exactly where that ball was heading. And Rocky, just looking today, 4:30, finals football action. Port take on North. Have you got a tip for us?
Well, I think you've got to tip Port Adelaide just on the basis of the season they've had and the power. But let's not underestimate Mike Noonan, his ability as a coach. He certainly displayed that last week, his biggest test today. And of course, they'll be sentimental favourites here at Football Park.
Rocky, I've got to agree that Port almost have to win. I don't like the idea of a side playing on a Sunday, fronting up for a never-say-die, if you like, death or glory final with a 5-day break as against the opposition's 6-day break. Port don't need an advantage like that, yet they've got it.
Indeed, and last week, of course, they were challenged by the Tigers almost by the minute right through the game, and it's the first time a side's been able to do that for most of the season. And Glenelg forced some injuries on them, and Harper kicks their third goal. And the Tigers 13-6-84. They lead Torrens 3-3-21.
Yes, so John Harper's one of the experienced campaigners in this side, of course, now playing on a wing, which I don't think he has figured in that position all that often up top. It's usually a back pocket player and or half-back, but not wing. But from the wing today, he has finally found the goals for West Torrens. Well, actually, he looks like he's half-forward flank at the moment. He's been shifted around a bit. Excuse me if I don't quite keep up with the changes made by Descamp. He's making plenty, and so he should. And on this occasion, one of them worked. John Harper kicks a goal, West Torrens third.
From the centre of the ground, the Tigers go forward. In the way is Jason Spear. He was going to go on, and the umpire has done the right thing. He's going to throw it up. He's obviously judged that Rouvray held him and he couldn't get rid of it, Graham.
Well, the ball was touched, and he did say play on, but the player really didn't hear the play on, so he gave him the benefit of the doubt and allowed him to, well, figuring a ball up.
That's good umpiring. Spear puts the Eagles forward over the 50-metre line. Harper again, he's got a chance to kick his second, and he goes straight to Neiman, and that is good football by the Eagles, and they're showing a little bit more composure.
Well, it's just great to see a bit of resistance, Rocky, that's all. Like, they were just out there making up the numbers for, what, 25 minutes of the quarter, and it's great to see them come back a little bit. And if David Newman kicks his goal, it'll be his second for the quarter, and West Torrens fourth for the term, and also their fourth for the match.
Indeed, he'll kick from the 10-metre line. See if he can't reduce the deficit for the Eagles to go in at quarter time. Indeed, he has, and the margin is now just 63 points.
Well, remarkably, over the last 10 minutes of play, West Torrens reserves have found the goals on 4 occasions. Not to be deterred, though, Glenelg, who were rampant for a quarter and 2/3 of that term, have kicked 13-6-84 to West Torrens 4-3-27, a lead of 57 points. That's a handy lead.
Yes, my arithmetic a little bit at fault. So in the Nissan Cup Reserves preliminary final, the Tigers will go in at half-time 13-6-84. West Torrens 4-3-27, a margin of 57 points. We'll stay with us because at half-time we'll have plenty of action, and we'll be back after the break. Welcome back to our live coverage of the preliminary final in the Nissan Cup. The Tigers, what a great day they're having. 13-6-84. They lead by 57 points over the Eagles, 4-3-27.
Certainly has been one-way traffic so far, Neville. Matthew Diptak starring in the forward pocket and roving, 3 goals. Paul Rouvray 2, Wayne Thornborough 2, the player of the future, no question. Adrian Batterston, also 2 goals. And for well, I almost said the losers. David Newman 2, Craig Somerville 1 and John Harper 1.
And the Tigers, Graham, just far too good. Too much depth on the ground at the moment for West Torrens.
Class against not even persistence until the last 10 minutes of that quarter. It's been a tough day for the West Torrens, a bad day at the office.
And indeed, and plenty of those seconds Tigers trying to get through to that grand final. Well, David Mackay's on the boundary line as he talks to one of those injured Tigers that's making way for one of the up-and-coming stars.
Oh, and he's not too happy about it, Rocky, I can tell you. With me, Clayton Lamb. Clayton, a real disappointment. You've broken your fibula in last week's game, and you'll certainly miss the grand final and a few more weeks after that recovering.
Yeah, I got about 6 to 8 weeks in plaster and just a bit of rehabilitation after that.
Pretty bitter pill to swallow, given that you transferred from West Adelaide at the start of the year to be with a successful side, hopefully playing in a grand final. Now the Bays are there and you're not.
Yeah, well, you know, like the old saying, you know, it could be fate, but, you know, that's football. Look at Rocky, he's had a few injuries, and I think, as I said to him when I'd done my cheekbone, I said, I hope I'm not following your career, you know, as he's had a few injuries.
Well, a lot of West Adelaide people sort of felt that it was poetic justice. Do you still get on well with West Adelaide players and officials?
I get on exceptionally well with the players. You know, it's like when you play with mates all those years. You know, they don't like to see you go, but I've been there a few years and I just had to make the change and to the Bays, and unfortunately I'm not playing in the grand final.
Well, your form earlier in the season was fairly ordinary, but your latter season form was very encouraging. You can really kick a ball a long way. I think they'll miss some of your bite in the forward zone. Who do you see as perhaps your possible replacement?
Well, that's up to the coaching panel. Graham Corns will be looking at this week and all the selection, but we've got a lot of room for improvement this week, and you know, look, we'll be trying to who we play off today, well, we'll be hoping to beat them next week.
Is there a side that Glenelg would rather play, North Adelaide or Port Adelaide?
No, I don't think so. I think whatever it is, you know, grand finals are like, they're always going to be hard, and doesn't matter who you play.
How did you change your game plan when you left West Adelaide? Glenelg obviously play a different pattern to the Bloods. You must have found it a little hard to change the style of play you were used to.
Yes, well, that was one of the main things. That's why my form, I suppose, was down a little bit. I was still running in the wrong positions, and the ball was going over the top of my head. And until I started to sort of work in with the Glenelg players, I started to find the ball a bit.
And Graham Corns has really whipped the Glenelg players in the latter part of the year. Would this be the fittest you've been?
Oh, for sure. I think when you go to another club, you try that extra bit harder. And although I did try at West Adelaide, but I think this year with the training methods of Graham Corns, it's really helped me immensely.
Well, let's compare Corns' coaching pattern with a few other coaches you've played under, Neil Curley, John Cale. Would you rate one of them better than the other?
I don't think so. I think you always get something out of a coach, and whatever you can and grasp that from him, make you a better player, then, you know, that's all the benefit for you.
Well, what have you gained from Cornsy?
I think it's hard to say, but he's helped me with my fitness, you know, and he's told me where I should be running and as a forward player, and that's what mainly I played this year, and he's helped me a fair bit to run into the right positions.
Well, let's go beyond this season. The Bays are in the grand final. Let's assume win, lose or draw that you're lining up next year. Would you be interested in an AFL composite side if they offered you a position?
I think you got to look at it. Just hope to get over this year and get back on the track a bit. Feels like that the season's just been cut off for me, and I now have to start all over again and try and get back where we are today, you know. But oh, sure, I'd be considerate for sure.
Well, Clayton, and excuse the pun, but it's a real bad break that you've missed the grand final, and our hearts go out to you. It's not easy to miss a grand final, and thanks for your time today.
Thanks, TV.
And it is heartbreaking, Graham. He's played all year, been responsible for the Tigers' surge, and there's his ankle. Just a quick one about that break. Kim Hodgson was telling me that it actually was broken vertically down the bone, and in fact that's the reason that he couldn't get up. If it actually broken across or horizontally to the ground, he might have been a chance to have played. But
Really?
it's a sad sight for Clayton Lamb. He's a terrific man, a great footballer, and it's very, very sad for him.
Well, only he would know the hollow emptiness he's feeling at the moment, being part of the action for, what, 23 weeks out of 25, and you've got to miss that vital last one.
Indeed, he's going to miss it. And don't you miss all the action. There's plenty coming up tonight, Graham.
Well, it sure is, Rocky. 4:30 tonight, finals football action on Channel 9, of course. The preliminary final today between Port Adelaide and North Adelaide. That'll be worth watching. 5:30, followed by the KG Footy Show.
And it doesn't stop there. Tomorrow, Sunday, we go to the Sunday Footy Show, hosted by Ken Cunningham. I'll be there. There'll be plenty of stars, plenty of action. And make sure you're with us. Well, stay with us indeed. We'll be back shortly after the break.